The Night Before Christmas, a review. The Night Before Christmas is a family-friendly film on Netflix that teaches wholesome lessons of gallantry, kindness, chivalry, and respect for all. Sir Cole is a British knight of 6 years, in the 14th century, who is approached by a crone while on a symbolic hunt for something. A chicken, maybe. The old lady tells him that he must embark on a quest and pass his test, or he will die, or something. She uses a bit of her magic to send him to a small town in Ohio, in the year 2019, 7 days before Christmas. He is stranded in a winter wonderland type of event, and a few girls ask him for a selfie. After taking their picture, he wanders around for a bit, and gets bumped into by a beautiful science teacher named Brooke, who spills hot chocolate on his armor. Gee, thanks. Brooke no longer believes in true love because her ex-boyfriend was a douche, in her parlance. They have their meet cute, and Sir Cole scurries away, only to get lost in a snowstorm. Brooke is driving in the middle of the storm, and hits Sir Cole with her car or her steel horse, as he calls it. Since the knight's armor was authentic, he was not injured in this accident. A friendly African-American police officer named Officer Stevens approaches the scene with haste and allows Sir Cole to sit in the back of his car before taking him to the hospital. After scanning his brain and seeing that nothing is physically wrong with him, they are stumped as to why Sir Cole still thinks he is a knight from the 14th century. Officer Stevens offers to let Cole stay at the police station, but Cole says that he can just sleep under a tree. It's fine, no big deal, he says. Brooke feels bad, and says that he can stay in her guest house, that she is able to pay for on a high school teacher's salary. It turns out that this was her parents' house that she inherited, so that makes more sense. Most teachers can't afford hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars, let alone a house, and certainly not one with an extra host attached to it. Brooke teaches Sir Cole how to use the Alexa device, which Cole dislikes immensely. He puts her in the freezer as punishment for not sending him back to his original timeline. He binge-watches television all night long, and is a rather quick study of modern American English. He almost kills a skunk for dinner, not knowing that most people have food stored in their cloisters. Brooke takes him to a diner and orders him a cheeseburger and french fries. Her ex-boyfriend and current girlfriend enter the diner, and Sir Cole feels it is his knightly duty to murder him for cheating on Brooke in the past. After the murder takes place, Brooke takes him back home and says goodnight. The next morning, Brooke's sister Madison is thirsty, as the kids say, and wants to have a look at this new gentleman, who is boarding their parents' old house. She drops off some muffins in a flower boutique, as she owns a flower shop. Sir Cole notices that he still has a little blood on his arm, and hastily wipes it off with one of the flowers. Sir Cole teaches Madison's daughter, Claire, how to be a knight, even though girls are not permitted to be knights where is from. She takes his lessons seriously, and gives her friend Lily her favorite pair of gloves after learning that she has none. Kindness and giving is part of the knight's code. After their third lesson, Sir Cole explains to her the basic concepts of the multiverse, and which Earth she currently inhabits. He tells her that the timeline is malleable, which means nothing to her. Brooke then calls them for hot chocolate. A red-headed neighbor tries to steal Sir Cole away from Brooke, because she is a whore. He politely snugs her invitation, sending her away with the insecurities that swarm her mind and her heart on a daily basis. declaring Lily spar with wooden swords in the front yard during a snowstorm, then somehow get lost and find themselves standing on the frozen lake that is not completely frozen. Sir Cole saves her by teaching her how to crawl on the ice to safety. She does as she is told, and crawls to safety on her own, like a self-reliant knight in training does. Claire's father, who just got home from a business trip selling myrrh and spices, is so grateful to Sir Cole for saving his daughter's life, that he gives him a very long, bear hug the next day at the Christmas feast. Sir Cole also arranged for Lily and her brother to be bestowed their most desired Christmas gifts, as their father works 2 jobs to take care of them, ever since his wife died after battling a long illness. Still unsure if he has fulfilled his quest, the red-headed harlot tries to seduce Sir Cole for the second time, by presenting a mistletoe. Looking her dead in the eye, he refuses her again, thereby crushing what remaining illusory self-esteem she had left. After the party is finished, he presents the mistletoe to Brooke, and they kiss. The magic amulet turns all blue and stuff again, and he realizes that he must return to his original timeline. Brooke is heartbroken over this, but Sir Cole promises that he will always remain faithful to her, regardless of what time period they live in. Brooke tries to understand, but she is still very sad about the suddenness of his departure. While eating the homemade bread that Sir Cole whipped up for her, she finds a single bean in her bite. She remembers that this was a Christmas tradition of Sir Cole's time. Whoever finds the bean gets to make a Christmas wish. She wishes that he was still there. Back in Sir Cole's time, he comes to see his younger brother's ceremony of being sworn in as a knight, but realizes that he needs to go back to Brooke. Sir Geoffrey tells him that he must go back to his true love, and that the ceremony is a mere formality. He was happy to just see him one last time. Sir Cole returns to Ohio and finds Brooke at the same winter wonderland place that he appeared in when he first arrived in 2019. He brought his horse this time, and took her for a ride after declaring his love for her. Back in the 14th century, after Sir Geoffrey's swearing-in ceremony, the crone approaches him and begins to tell him of his quest, and the credits roll.
Sir Geoffrey tells you that he left the light in his now. So he is an evil man. He was happy to just see him on the
Gee, thanks.
So the returns to Ohio.
Gee, thanks. 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 Gee, thanks.